We're judging the world and seeing what sucks. We're reviews versus the world.
But everyone was laughing because it's like, oh, he's so famous. It's David Spade. Oh my gosh, David Spade. He's so funny. He wasn't really that funny. Sorry, David. Nothing against you, just...
And we're back!
David Spade.
So I would like to point out that this is actually take 2. We decided to try to use my fancy new microphone, but... yeah. Apparently, I don't know what I'm doing like Aldo does, and so now we're back to being old-fashioned and using our highly sophisticated technology in our cell phone to record this episode. But anyway, so let's go ahead, and I'm actually going to start the other way then.
Cool.
Just to mix this up.
Word.
Kelly.
I like it.
So, Kelly, this is your first time here with us with Reviews versus the World. I work with him, and he's a little bit obsessed with Brandon Sanderson, and we're going to be talking about...
Oh, that's dangerous.
A lot of it. Just a bit. And we're going to be talking about The Emperor's Soul today. And so I thought, Kelly would be a great addition, but Brandon Sanderson isn't all that there is to this man. So, Kelly, tell us, what have you been into for this last month?
This is actually quite a bit. So I have been getting extremely geeky with guitar.
Ooh.
Spending a lot of time with, actually 10 hours of cumulative practice time trying to master Shawn Mendes, that song Stitches. However, it's not just the chords. It's a fingerstyle playing version of it where you use percussion with your wrist and your palm and your thumb. So it's like...
I love that.
It's extremely difficult, and that's why I had 10 hours in trying to do all that, because my hands have never moved like that in my life before. So,
when you master that, send video footage.
I've been doing, mastering a song here or there and putting it on YouTube and Facebook, because I like being praised, and I'm weird like that.
I think everybody in America does.
I've got...
There's like 6 people listening to this.
Yeah.
You might as well get them in.
One of the 6 to subscribe or something. It's just youtube.com/Kel Ehlers, EHLERS.
Oh my god, I remember that. I could listen to the podcast later.
Yes. I then have a lot of my students who I'm teaching are enjoying Toad the Wet Sprocket songs. And they're my
because they have 2 ears and a heart, don't
yes,
they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Then there's also Pokemon Go. I got into that a little bit more this summer, kind of like a rehashing of last year. And the first 2 weeks were pretty heavy, Pokemon Go. I had like Pokemon Go Plus and everything. And I went one morning to West Jordan Park in my car and I drove around in a circle getting all the Pokemon Go stops. And I was going maybe 10 over the speed limit just to grab them quickly and then switch into my little boy's account on my phone and grab them again. And then by the time I get back to the first one again, it's finally refreshed the 5 minutes. So in about 2 hours, I've filled both of our bags full of Pokeballs and we're ready to go for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, dude.
So hold on. Just to recap, you were 2 hours just doing laps in a park?
Yes.
Just to resupply?
Listening to some audiobooks, of course, because that would be very dull.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I like how you went around in a vehicle. I mean, you're not going to be productive with your Pokemon Go.
This was while my kids were still asleep. I did early morning just so that I could get the day going.
Wow.
And I thought it was like while they were in the car and you were like, we got to keep them asleep. If they're napping, they're happy. Let's just...
There was one other person in this little go-around, and she was going too slow for me. And so I actually pulled over by her and I said, hey, by the way, if I get in front of you, it's not because I'm impatient. I'm doing 2 Pokemon Go's at the same time. And she's like, you're totally cool, man. And she had her thing, too.
I like how it brings people together.
Yes.
Right.
A year after release.
Well, it's like motorcyclists. Whenever they drive by each other, they always...
wave. Yeah.
Always.
The last part about the Pokemon Go is that we went to Ashton Gardens in Thanksgiving Point. Have you ever been there?
I work in Thanksgiving Point.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's an amazing garden. Like, it's huge.
Yeah.
And they have a huge amount of Pokemon stops, and I had no idea that you had to pay to get in. And when we got there, they were like, you can get an annual membership for $220. And I'm like, $220 to play Pokemon? And then they tell me it's a children's museum, it's the Jurassic or the Dinosaur Museum. It's the Ashton Gardens. It's the farming thing, and my wife goes there all the time.
So it's all of that, not just the garden.
And I was like, okay, I feel like I'm paying for Pokemon Go, $220, but I'm not. Okay, and so my wife convinced me to do it, and we've gone a few times. It's pretty awesome over there. And the lady who sold me the ticket, the annual ticket, was actually a woman who contacted me for guitar lessons for her daughter a week before, and she was like, "Are you the guy?" And I'm like, "Yes, I am."
That's so funny. I love that.
Lastly, I have been totally addicted to Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links on the phone. Yu-Gi-Oh! The card game is an amazing game, and I got addicted to it like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. The real card game. And after $250 on cards on eBay, my wife was like, "You have to quit."
Like, I'm cutting you off.
Yeah.
Oh.
My brother-in-law got me into it, and I was like, every time we were over there on Sunday dinner, he's like, "You want a duel?" I'm like, "Duel." And my wife was like, "I want some attention from you," and I'm like, "Well, get some Yu-Gi-Oh cards." So,
Like, I've got my own thing going.
If you want to be my lover, you gotta get with my Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm a little fuzzy on my Spice Girls, but I think it's something like that.
it's exactly the song. They're all very big Yu-Gi-Oh fans over there. But here's the thing, though. The thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links is that the gameplay is quick, it's fast, the UI is really slick, it's really simple on the surface, but the strategy is actually really intense. It's like, normally the game on tabletop is 5 monsters and 5 spell and traps, but Duel Links is 3 monsters and 3 spell and traps, so it's much quicker. And then there are some, like, you've got your main person level, and then you've got your character level, and you can have like tons of different characters, and it works a lot like Hearthstone, where you have hero powers, your characters have powers as well. Funniest thing is that I did a duel against somebody, and they started with 500 life points, and you normally start with 4,000. I'm like, what's going on? And then he had 3 monsters on turn 1 that were like huge. I'm like, how am I going to do this? And my first monster, I lay it out, and it says, can't equip spell cards. It will destroy the spell, or it'll destroy the equip card as soon as you attach it. And so my next card I pulled was this thing that said, if you equip this and it gets destroyed, do 500 damage to the person. So I'm like, I win.
Ta-da!
You know, it's those combo wombo moves that I just totally fall in love with these games, and I just totally geek out. And I'm like, I wish I had somebody else as a total Yu-Gi-Oh geek to be like, dude, that was so cool. But the only kind of outlet I have is Discord chat with all the other people who play it. And
I wish I could be there for you right now, but
I'm really good at, like...
He's tried to get me excited about it several times at work, and every time I just go, okay, cool.
Maybe if it was a different characters, like, you trick you in that way, be like...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a card game about
Pokemon, Stormlight Archive, and
yeah.
you are the Knight Radiant of the characters. It's pretty cool.
It's like how your parents try to... It's just like pizza sauce. Try it. You'll like it. This is not the same thing, Mom.
Is that how you spoke to your mom growing up? It's not the same, Mom. Are you, like, sort of Elmo, almost?
I thought it was more like Pee Wee Herman.
Well, that's also...
No, I think I did a Scottish accent a lot. We named our dog Groundskeeper Willie because of it.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Because my room was in the basement growing up, and so, come upstairs and take it. Willie hears ya, Willie don't care. Just downstairs, like you just would ignore it.
Have you ever seen that video of that dad and his little girl who's talking about wanting a boyfriend, and he kept saying,
Dad, I want a boyfriend. No. You're going to be a nun. What?
You're going to be a nun, you're going to work for Jesus.
First he's like, Daddy, you'll break his legs. And then afterwards, you kidnap your boyfriend's daddy and hide him in a cupboard. No, if I want a boyfriend, I'm getting a boyfriend. No, you're going to be a nun. You're going to work for Jesus. And he pulls out his cross. There, who are you going to work for? There, who are you going to work for?
Jesus.
It's beautiful. I think it's a Glaswegian accent.
It is.
Okay, good.
It is.
That's what I thought.
It's my favorite kind of Scottish accent.
It's
my
I'm glad you're doing
favorite
the accents. Every accent I try to do ends up going redneck halfway through.
That's totally cool, man.
No, but then, someone hears this who actually is Scottish, they'll come back and be like, it's crap.
So, John.
Well, I didn't want to stop in the middle of Yu-Gi-Oh! If there's more Yu-Gi-Oh! To talk about.
No, I actually halfway through my explanation of the duel that I was doing, I was like, I shouldn't even have brought this up. This is annoying.
Hey man, everyone's passionate about something. I wanted to say that I appreciate you being here and your name being Kelly, because Kelly is a guy's name, and I can't stress that. My middle name is Kelly. And
yes, it is.
in 3rd grade, when kids found out about that, oh, you must be a girl. It's hurtful.
I lived through that my entire life. All up until yesterday. People stopped.
Yes.
Specifically, I don't know.
I'm glad you made it. Because I prefer, like, my family calls me John Kelly, and I like that and prefer that. But, like, for so many years growing up, it's just like... So, yes, Kelly Club. It's a good club to be in. And this month, YouTube has been my friend, and I've gotten into binging with Babish. I don't know if you guys have watched any of those.
What's that?
Oh.
It's basically a cooking show. The guy cooks food from movies. So
I think I've seen
you
one
probably
of
have,
those.
I'm sure you have. He has 1 million subscribers now. Like just recently is like really blown up and like is starting to do a weekly video.
Mm-hmm.
The first one I saw was he made Ratatouille.
Mm-hmm.
From Ratatouille
I've
in
totally
the style
seen that.
of okay.
I've totally seen that.
It's fantastic. It's really quick. It's like more in depth and more serious, like like those tasty videos where it's really quick. But like, dude knows what he's doing, and it's not simple stuff where it's just like put a lot of cheese and bacon in it.
Right.
Do
you follow along and see what he's making?
Not that. No, it's all like edited together. I have made some of the stuff. Like today, I made the he did a pasta dish from the movie Chef with Jon Favreau, and I made that and it turned out okay. But he does like he did the prison meat sauce they make in Goodfellas. He did beef bourguignon, whatever it is, from Julie and Julia. He's done 3 different burgers from Bob's Burgers. He did the black garlic burger. He did the baby you can chive my car burger. He was like, I just wanted an excuse to do fried pickles. And so it's all real quick and well shot, and you get like, I don't know, it's just I like cooking for fun, and so it's and it's enjoyable to see that and have a movie connection. And the version of Ratatouille is, I forget what it's actually called. Like, it's not Ratatouille because it's not really a stew, but they give you little insights like that, and it's actually pretty easy to make. I thought that like Remy had like broken some new ground and like all this, but no, it's pretty straightforward. It just takes
kind of
some
layers,
time.
right?
Yeah. So a lot of that. Yeah, I'm in like a Netflix rut, and I keep trying to find new shows.
I feel you so hard. That's why I keep rewatching stuff.
I'm on Frasier again. I'm not ready to go through West Wing again.
Watch Better Call Saul.
I keep hearing things
And
about
Fargo,
that, and
and
people keep saying
Seriously,
that same thing where it's
about
like,
Frasier, I couldn't. Like, I was so impatient about Daphne and Nigel getting together that I had to skip. Because
so you skipped like 3/4 or 2/3 of this series.
Like,
just to...
Well, I was just like, when is it going to happen?
Yeah,
but I know they had to stretch it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's
every
what
show
sitcoms
like
do,
Jim and
because
Pam and
once sitcoms get 2 characters together, they don't know what to do with them.
Niles and Daphne though they kept it interesting throughout. And I think that the show, like, it's one of those where you wouldn't think like, oh, Frasier, like, that's the funniest dang show. It's consistently really funny.
It really is.
And there's some really talented people on that show, and so it's a good one to have. Like, I actually watch it like when I'm making breakfast. And it's just me and my daughter in the morning, and so that's fun. But I'd recommend binging with Babish after Reviews versus the World YouTube channel.
Which
So I'm planning on actually having some more reviews up, guys. I know, surprising. If any of you guys want to do one, because. And I'll get to a little bit more of this, but I have the next month off of work because my work is amazing. And they just said, hey, why don't you just go ahead and not come into work and we'll pay you for a month.
Brady, you can't see because it's a podcast, but he has a name tag that says Senior Jerkwad on it that he earned for this month paid.
And I also am wearing a blue shirt with yellow writing that says, don't hassle me, I'm local.
I can't be mad at you for a Bill Murray reference.
Take a second. Breathe.
I switched to patches.
We are the world.
Oh, they're hard to keep lit.
And Emily.
So, this is my second go-around. I'll make this fast, because Brady apparently has a lot of things to talk about. I have been building my house, which is exciting. I have been rewatching shows on Netflix, like that 70s show. I've also been rewatching Marmalade Boy. I have also been playing guitar. Yes.
What? I don't know what Marmalade Boy is. Can you enlighten
It's a
me?
super 90s, like, cheese balls, funny, probably only to me, romantic anime.
Oh.
Okay.
It's one
I
of
was
the
just
few
had to wait for the last word.
And there we go.
then-
Okay. Because I was like, was that on like the WB
It's
or
not
something?
one of those,
Or-
because here's the thing about animes, I can't watch a lot of hardcore stuff, like, my brain just kind of glazes over, I can't get into it.
It's because you're not
But-
a prepubescent teen boy who's...
Like Attack on Titan?
Can't. I'm out. But Marmalade Boy is nice just because it's cute, and they're funny, and they make dumb jokes, and they have funny faces, and people fall in love, and that's all I need, really.
Oh.
Which is something I'll have to talk about with this book. Did I say I play guitar? I'm playing guitar! That's all I
Yeah.
have. Go team.
Woo! Okay.
Sit down, you're in for the long haul, team.
So, I have been into a lot of things. Sabbatical and whatnot. But I'm going to try to be quick with the stuff that you would not expect me to be quick with. And I'm going to focus on the stuff that you would not expect from me at all. So first of all, of course, I am still playing my Switch, and I'm playing it a lot.
I can't imagine that happening.
Samesies.
I've been playing a lot of ARMS. Now,
Samesies.
ARMS is a lot of fun. It's basically it's from behind the back fighting game where you have extendable arms, and so like you curve your punches and it's a lot of fun.
I thought it was like an abbreviation for something like...
I think that it technically is.
Oh.
Those Japanese people, they like to do that sort of thing.
You've beaten Zelda, though, right?
I have beaten Zelda,
Like
but
in 100 different ways.
just today they released the first part of the DLC,
Oh.
and so they have something called the Sword Trials, something like that.
Almost
saw
the
the
reason why it
image
didn't
of,
come tonight.
Yeah, and they have a lot of
understand.
new armor and cool stuff that way. But the Trials of the Sword, that's what it's called. And basically, it's like Eventide Island, where you lose everything, and you just kind of have to start, and you basically progress through these floors where you have to kill all of the enemies, and you start with nothing, and like build it up.
Die hard for Zelda.
Well, you are barefoot.
Die hard on hard mode.
Or Dread, you're just going up the levels.
Right.
Like that goes. That's sweet.
But it's really fun, really, really, really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wow, it's tough. But that's a lot of fun. Also on the Switch, I've been playing a lot of Shantae Half Genie Hero, which has some great animation in it. It's kind of a level-based Metroidvania type thing where you go back through levels several times because as you gain new abilities, you can access more things in those levels.
Like Mega Man.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
And with those abilities, like, it's you actually changing into different animals, and then you could actually upgrade the animal abilities, so it's very
Like
cute.
Mega Man. No, I'm just kidding.
He's like, I'm gonna keep saying it.
Shot-for-shot remake of Mega Man over here.
It's very cute, very fun. This is my second Shantae game that I played. I also played one for the Wii U, and I liked that one better. That one seemed to be better structured, but this one is still a lot of fun. And then, so TV shows. 2 amazing TV shows ended their 3rd seasons.
Fargo.
Surprise!
The other one, Better Call
And
Saul.
Better Call Saul. And both of them were absolutely amazing. In the end, though, now this might, shock some of you. Better Call Saul had a better 3rd season than Fargo did.
What?
Bum.
I know.
I just really
That
want to
was
watch
like
Law and Order. Can we watch Law and
sacrilege for
Order?
you.
Yeah, it's on
Sorry.
TV right now.
Well, a lot of what
this
happened.
is playing.
A lot of what happened on Better Call Saul this season just felt like amazing payoffs to everything that it was leading up to. Michael McKean was just on fire this season. And if you don't know who Michael McKean is, then you have not watched a lot of great movies.
You know who Michael McKean is. He was the bad guy in the movie that you love. You just forgot,
true.
Well, and he was also Mr. Green in Clue.
Yeah, most importantly,
Yeah.
Mr. Green.
And he
Oh my
is
gosh, I
he's one of the
finally-
members of Spinal Tap.
Yeah, that's
Weird,
the next
right?
thing I was going to say.
Yeah.
So, but Michael McKean is absolutely amazing in this season, and you don't really quite understand him for the first season. Second season, you're like, oh, okay, and then third season, you're like, oh my gosh, I hate you. But yeah, Better Call Saul is amazing.
And I'm still not caught up on Legion, and I'm sorry.
I haven't watched
Me
any
too.
episodes of it.
It's one of those where, like, I can't do anything else while I'm watching it, and the
Because
only,
you
time,
have to
the
pay
only
attention.
time that I have to, like, watch it is late at night when my daughter's asleep and my wife's like, I might go to bed now, I've got work in the morning, and, you know, I have to sit down.
Yeah,
Thank you for...
yeah. I
Was
got
that business time?
That was business time. Thank
Yes.
you. Okay.
Okay, we got
Kelly should always be here. Kelly gets it. Yeah, and so, like, I have to, like, have it super quiet and have the captions on. And then I'm like, it's late, and I don't understand why everything is floating and backwards.
It doesn't matter how late it is. That's how you're gonna
Yeah.
feel.
That's kind of one of the
So-
points.
Yeah.
And then
7 episodes, right?
there's eight.
8.
Okay, I got 2
I'm
more.
like an episode and a half behind, so
Oh, it's that Legion is amazing. You should go back and watch that.
maybe tonight's the night.
All right, and then E3 happened,
Oh boy.
and with E3 there were a couple of very, very fun announcements that warmed my heart. And
Harvest Moon. Just kidding. You guys can play that. It's just me, all alone. Who am I kidding? I haven't played one since like 2009. Anyway.
but there were a couple of announcements that made me go, okay, I'm going to go and play games that this reminds me of. So Metroid Prime 4 was announced, and when that logo showed up, I almost cried.
Did you pee a little bit?
I was just about to say that! I was really about to try again. Bam! Okay.
But
And they have spent a good
Time
half
machine.
hour just watching other people's reactions to
Yeah.
that little teaser.
Isn't that a great
On
thing they
YouTube?
have on YouTube? I love
Oh, yeah.
watching trailer reactions because I
Right.
don't watch trailers, but like after the movies come out and I binge all the trailers that I've skipped, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I'll watch like babies watching the Star Wars trailer is fantastic.
I've never even looked that
Well,
So-
this
good. It's
th-
good.
this was absolutely perfectly set up because the way that it was announced was you just saw space, and so like everybody in the reactions videos would go, okay, space, okay, you know,
Yeah.
thinking there's no way that this is Metroid, and then you start hearing kind of weird musical sounds, and then you're like, okay, that's kind of weird, and then it starts panning back, and you see these blue clouds, and then the blue clouds start turning into the Screw Attack S from Metroid, and then the true fans, that's when they freak out.
Please
And
tell me
then-
they had the...
and then there's-
Dun, 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 dun.
No, they had
Oh,
the Metroid Prime 1, like, weird garbled noises
Oh.
with sounds over it, yeah. And then it showed a 4, a glowing blue 4, and then it said Metroid Prime 4, and everybody freaks out because it's amazing. So that got me going back to playing the one Metroid Prime game that I never finished, which is Metroid Prime 2, and it's a lot of fun. I very much enjoy it.
That's one my brother-in-law Chris showed me the new like Super NES you can buy. All the games preloaded, $80 I think. He just listed them off, and I was like, wait, that's all of the games that I loved, you know, as a kid. Holy crap! And like Metroid was one of those, Mega Man X was one of them, and yeah.
Oh yeah, that Super NES Classic, I'm very, very excited for that.
Yeah.
If I ever
I have
see
no,
one.
I have no need for it. I've got the emulator with all the games.
That's what I'm saying,
and
dude.
And the reason why I don't feel bad about the emulator with all the games is because my mom originally bought those games for me, so I'm
Yeah.
entitled to those
Right.
games.
Yeah,
I
it's
have
just
them
like
somewhere in a box.
yeah.
But guys, never released Star Fox 2.
That's exciting. That is exciting.
That is really cool.
Yeah, because I loved that game on the 64. I never played it before that, but like, whew. I thought I'd like uncovered like, you know, hidden treasure when I was like, there are other. You can go to these planets instead. Oh my gosh! Like I didn't know that was a thing because I didn't read Nintendo Power, but like, yeah, it was a.
You weren't
big
one of the
moment
cool
for me.
kids that had a subscription?
No.
I wasn't either. It's okay.
Brady's in a Nintendo shirt. He's like, oh, I had a subscription.
Did you really have a subscription?
To Nintendo Power? Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He'd bleed.
And then Mario plus Rabbids was revealed, and it was revealed that, hey, this is actually kind of awesome.
It seemed like a ridiculous idea at first.
Yeah, well, especially when like you see the art and you're like, why does Mario have a gun? I don't understand what's going on. This isn't right. Stop this now. But then, like, the more that it was revealed, the more I was like, oh, that looks awesome. That looks awesome. That looks awesome. And it's a turn-based strategy game a la XCOM. So I went and started replaying XCOM, Enemy Unknown, and that game is a lot of fun. No, the like reboot from like 5 years ago.
Because to play the original XCOM, you probably have to access like MS-DOS or.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah, no. This is Enemy Unknown, and that's a lot of fun. I very much enjoy it. And something else that came up at E3, I watched a lot of previews for a lot of different games, and there was one game that caught my eye because there were a lot of things about it that just really attracted me. Like, first of all, the art style was amazing. Mm-hmm. Second of all, classic JRPG battle system, turn-based, attack, setting up the attacks, and I'm like, okay, I'm on board. And then they started talking about the characters, and it turns out that this little girl is actually the tank. And this giant robot, and I mean giant, is your healer. So there's like some role reversal going around here. And I'm like, okay, that's very interesting. And the art was just gorgeous in this game. And so it was the creative director who was talking about it. And he was also the creative director on the Darksiders games. The art director. And apparently he's a pretty big comic book artist. And this game was based on a comic book series. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to totally buck everybody's expectations of me. And I'm going to read this comic book series.
You read a comic book?
And so I did. So that creative director...
This is rare.
I know, this is very rare. That creative director, now tell me if his name sounds familiar. I'm not sure how to say it. Joe Maduria?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So...
Yeah.
Kelly's not a fan.
I just don't know names of anyone.
Oh, you were like,
That's right.
I don't know names of games.
Okay, so
songs, but no.
So John, you know who he is.
I know who. Well, I know that I have some comics that he's done somewhere, but yeah.
But yeah, his art is great.
Yeah.
And so this comic book series is called Battle Chasers. Have you ever heard of it?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I really wish that Alder or Steven were here.
We failed you. Look, we read the book, though, that we're actually talking about tonight.
Yeah,
if that
Brady.
counts for anything.
So Battle Chasers, it's set kind of medieval, but at the same time, like, they have guns and a little bit of steampunk technology in there. And the whole thing feels very... It's very 90s, because that's when it started, was in the 90s. There are only 10 comics, and... it has some gorgeous art, and it seems very anime-inspired with a lot of it. And I loved it. I loved the story. I loved how it took a lot of tropes and then kind of turned them on their heads, while at the same time, there were some things where I was like, okay, I don't read comic books, and I still know that this is very much a trope that you see over and over and over and over. But, like, I read and I read and I read and I read, and I get to the last issue, finish it, and then I find out that it's the last issue and go, what the crap? Absolutely nothing was resolved. Oh, it really irritated me. But apparently, since they actually have the guy behind that comic book series doing this game...
he's going to finish it.
So hopefully it will kind of finish the storyline a little bit, even though he has said that it's more of an alternate take of the story. But I'm really hoping that they end up finishing that series, because, they started in, 98, and it's still only 10 comics.
Well, at least to get some resolution, or of some kind, whether it's directly to your story or not.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why, the little girl being the heavy, that's why, Runaways is really great. The youngest girl, Molly, in the group, is the one who's, super strong and, punched Wolverine like a block. and I don't know, she, kept a huge monster from wrecking Los Angeles, and and so on and so forth. And it's fun to see changes to the expectations that you have
So,
Dukes.
my favorite character in the comics is the giant robot. He's a war golem named Calibretto, and he's just such a great character in the comics. And like here, let me see if I can pull up some of the art for you guys so that you can see kind of the style. So I don't know if you can see that, but
Nice.
Cool.
He looks like a Terran soldier.
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Big shoulders. Yeah.
Right.
but when he goes out in public, because war golems were supposed to all be dismantled and discontinued by order of the king. And so he goes out in disguise, and his disguise just makes me smile.
That's subtle.
You totally.
And what's great is that in the
can't tell.
comics, the disguise actually works.
And the little girl is also a great character, because basically she gets these gauntlets inherited from her father, who was a great hero, and they make her basically into the Hulk. And it's pretty awesome. But yeah, I totally recommend checking that comic series out, and then you can...
What's it called again?
It's called Battle Chasers.
Battle Chasers.
Yeah, and it's only 10 issues, and the issues are actually really short as well.
Which publisher is it?
It's Image.
Okay, that's I guess.
Even though Joe Madureira has worked on a lot of Marvel...
That's I think where I have his like Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
If I have anything.
Yeah, he was doing art for X-Men for quite a while, I guess. But, yeah, and then other than that, so there's my one thing that's unexpected that I've been into as a comic. What? And also, I have been into an anime, My Hero Academia.
Don't know.
Mm-mm. You told me about it at work, but I hadn't tried it.
Crickets. So, it's basically, it's set in this world where 80% of the population has some sort of superpower or quirk. And it's about this kid who was born without a quirk. And he wants more than anything else to actually be a hero. And so he has this hero, All Might, who's just this great character. Just this very cheesy, grinned, always smiling.
Kind of a Superman character.
Kind of a Superman character. And so basically the way that the story goes is he rushes in to basically save his bully from a supervillain, and it was at a time when All Might couldn't be there, and All Might sees it, and All Might ends up actually saving him, but because this kid went and tried to help, All Might gives him part of his power. And so the kid basically then goes and enrolls in the hero course at basically the prestige superhero school. And so it has a little bit of that kind of Harry Potter feel to it.
Or
where it's going
Sky
to a lot
High. Literally what you've just described is Sky High. Just in case you didn't know that, it's Sky High.
With Tim Allen?
No, Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell.
Tim Allen did Zoom.
We don't need to talk about that.
We don't need to talk about that.
But My Hero Academia, it has some great animation in it. It has some awesome characters. I'm trying to make it through the second season now, but the problem is it's not dubbed yet, and so I actually have to really pay close attention.
Oh, okay. See, like most things, I prefer subtitles, but
Just don't.
No.
I'll have the
anime,
subtitles
I figure
on, but-
like dubbed would be easier
Yeah.
than like.
Yeah, it's easier because then I can actually keep an eye on my kids while watching it.
Right.
Whereas
Without
with
looking
subtitles,
at
it's like, no, Daddy's watching.
Right. Don't move.
As my 5-year-old is so confused, and she's like, I can't understand what they're saying, but I can read some of the words.
She's so smart.
Oh, she is.
I love your kids.
But My Hero Academia, I really recommend it, especially that first season finale is
Hulu?
phenomenal.
Netflix?
It's on Hulu.
Cool.
And how long has it been? There's 2 seasons, or how many?
There's 2 seasons. So they're
They're
actually,
fairly new, or-
I think that they're just now finishing or just finished the second season.
Okay.
But it's one of those things where Hulu has contracts with Funimation, where as they're published in Japan, they're brought over here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's
That's
awesome.
That's awesome.
Because it
Same
seems
week.
like there's usually been delays.
Yeah.
waiting for-
And I think that Attack on Titan, they're doing the same thing with season 2.
Yes. I'm
So-
not caught up yet, but I'm 4 episodes out.
Yeah, so they're updating that as it goes.
Oh, you guys do need to have watched Boruto. You don't have to watch Naruto first, but Boruto is technically Naruto's son. It's the next generation of the Naruto series kind of thing. the fighting, the parkour moves, so freaking cool. Who doesn't want to see ninjas rocking it out? I mean, and it's good storyline, so recommended.
See, right now we're still trying very hard to convince John to watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. So I think that
They
we
had me watch
focus on that
Fruit
one.
Baskets. You know about Fruit Baskets?
Why would you ruin him?
They gave me a sampling.
I didn't choose that
We did
one.
like
I
a
didn't
survey.
choose it.
We did a survey course of
A bunch of
anime.
different
We did an
ones.
anime episode. It was like, here, watch a couple of these. And so I was like, Cowboy Bebop. I was like, all right, I could get into this. All right. And then I don't think I watched anything after friggin' Fruits Basket. I think I like.
You didn't watch Sailor
You didn't
Moon?
watch One Punch Man?
See, I should have done that second.
One Punch
Yeah.
Man is hilarious.
I can
Dumb.
appreciate
It's
that.
a guy show. It's so a guy show. I've tried to watch it so many times, and I'm like,
Every annoying
oh
thing
my
about
God.
anime, so I can watch that.
Oh.
Watch My Hero Academia instead.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and we're actually going to go ahead now and take a little bit of a break. We'll be back in about 5 seconds for you, but more like, 10, 15 minutes for us.
Hey-oh. I was like, my last, so I bought it was like, I'm an adult. I can choose whatever cereal I want. I'm bringing home Cocoa Puffs. These are not a special treat anymore. They are whenever I feel like
Well, it's like every time I go to the store, we're getting, like, groceries or something, and then we're walking down the chip aisle, and I'm like,
it.
we shouldn't have them because they're bad for us, and we're gonna get fat. You know what? Screw this. I'm getting Doritos. And I do. My waistline
There's an empty bag
has a
of Cheetos
problem,
at home.
but my mind doesn't.
Well, the taste buds are very pleased.
That's
Cool
what I'm
Ranch
saying.
all the way.
Holla!
They've been, lately, I think they've been, like, holding back in the seasoning, though. 'Cause
Yes.
sometimes it's just straight
And then
up
you'll get
plain
one
chip.
chip where it's like all of the seasoning is
Oh.
on this
Seriously?
one damn chip.
And it's
Yeah.
the best
And it like
chip in the
blows you
bag.
through the next wall.
Seriously.
Yeah. Somebody I met claimed that they had some weird food in Brazil, like they were on an LDS mission and they had like oxtail or something, or like bone marrow, or some kind of weird, and whatever spice blend was on it tasted like Cool Ranch Doritos to him, so I don't know what's in Cool Ranch Doritos, but maybe it's weird Brazilian bone marrow.
I'm still gonna eat it. so-
Yeah, I'm still gonna, it's like, Soylent Green, huh? Well, it tastes so dang good.
Mm-hmm.
And welcome
I was
back!
gonna say, are we recording? I think we're recording.
You can just trim all that later, right?
Cannibalism?
No, I'm
that
going to
was
keep
golden.
every sentence.
If history is any indication, that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, the history of self-deprecation that's been caught on many of our parts in previous podcasts.
I'm really good at self-deprecation.
I think we all are. I think
You have to be.
people who love themselves enough really are.
Yes, love.
About that.
It's like maybe the opposite. Anyway,
Anyway,
I don't speak English.
so the reason why we got together this fine evening is because we're going to be discussing. Well, yes, that too. We are going to be
Discussing how Brady can't speak English.
We are going to be discussing Brandon Sanderson's The Emperor's Soul. So I was really hoping that we would be able to get some of our other members here, because 3 out of the 4 of us know Sanderson very well. And then there's Emily.
Dun dun dun.
You know what's going to happen? She's going to get sucked in like I was. Last time we talked about Sanderson, you know what happened to me? I got sucked in.
To the
That's-
Cosmere.
Yeah, and now I'm happy.
Yeah, that's right.
So
He's like,
I'm like,
I'm
I had
pleased to be
resisted fantasy works for a long time. I was like, oh, maybe I'll go sci-fi if it's like Ender's Game and it's like, not
Was it-
super, yeah. But then,
Well, you know what?
Bad.
Let's talk about that a little bit. What is your background with fantasy novels? Let's start with John, since you were just getting into it.
oh, yeah. As a kid, nothing. The Hobbit.
Right.
I don't know if you guys know Bruce Coville, like My Teacher's an Alien, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I was just okay.
No, totally.
No one else I ever knew growing up who read those. It was like I had like a stash under my bed, and I was like, sci-fi books no one else knows about. Those were good. Those
They
4
were
books,
great.
yeah.
We shouldn't read them at this point in our lives, because then it will be disappointing to our childhood.
Yeah. Is it one of those you can't go back and read? They don't hold
Probably
up.
not.
Probably.
That's why I still haven't watched Thundercats. Like the new one, sure, but like the old one, I'm afraid to watch.
No, I can't either.
I want to, but
It's like watching He-Man. Anyway.
I went back and watched Ninja Turtles too. It made me
Yeah.
really sad. The animation is so bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
What, Secret of the Ooze?
No. Secret of the Ooze, man.
Always good.
Oh,
Always good.
Like, I could watch Donatello hit that tipsy clown. Yeah.
I saw that.
I could
like,
watch
a
that
month ago.
over and
I
over.
laughed so
Oh my
hard.
gosh. Yeah. No,
Oh,
that
so
one.
good.
That is evergreen, my friend. No, but the cartoon from like the early '90s.
The pizza
Late
looks
80s,
really
whatever.
good, though.
The pizza always looks good.
It'll
That's
hold
why
up
binging with
forever.
Babish is good, because it's like you watch a movie and you're like, that food looks so good, and he was like, yeah, I know, right? Here's how you make it.
I think that we originally started talking about fantasy novels.
I was going to bring it around.
I'm
I was gonna
sorry.
bring it around.
I'll talk about food all day. Anyway.
C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien. That was it. And then last fall, was it? We had our Lost episode, our fantasy podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I did a good job hosting, and I'm really sad. And I feel really bad because we had on the guys from the Legendarium.
And they did great.
They did great and were really helpful and talked about a lot of stuff. And what stuck with me was, man, these guys like Sanderson a lot. And so I was like, all right, I'll read Mistborn. Everyone's told me about Mistborn. I'm going to read it and just power through the first little bit where I'm not understanding anything, and maybe it'll get good. And then,
You lost yourself pretty
oh,
fast.
man. I read Mistborn. I read Hero, or what's the second one?
The Well of Ascension.
Well of Ascension. Because now I'm like, Bands of Morning. Nope, that's the.
Yeah.
I read all those Mistborn books. I've read The Secret History now too because I've caught up. I read Stormlight Archive. And I've read Warbreaker, Elantris, and now the Arcanum Unbounded. Is that the collection?
Yes.
Yeah, that's where I read Emperor's Soul. Other people read it like when it first came out. I'm just now catching up, and so because I want to be ready for Warbreaker. And I'm really excited about Warbreaker.
You mean Oathbreaker?
What did I say?
Oathbringer.
Oh, Oathbringer, yeah.
Yeah.
I got halfway there. He started. I got in the
Yeah,
middle.
I kind of mixed a couple different. Yeah. I apologize.
He's doing a second Warbreaker, right?
We are.
I think so.
He better.
That I'd be okay if that was just. I don't
Just
know.
one and done.
There were parts of it I liked, but I don't know. And
Well,
that was the one where I
now-
broke down
now
and
we
got the
know-
audiobook.
Now we know that kind of, the main character of that is being used elsewhere right now. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I would prefer that he stays there.
Yeah. Oathbringer.
Topper. He can go back.
Oathbringer, we are 136 days, 3 hours, and 30 minutes from its release date. I would assume that there'll be a midnight party at a bookstore.
Oh, man,
or
I am-
online on a Kindle.
I am so excited.
This is one where
I
I'm going to go to a book
so
signing.
excited.
like,
Before
geek
we
out.
actually end tonight, I will tell you a scene that he shared at a book signing
Really?
with Dalinar when he's young in war.
Really?
Yes.
Do we know why what he got from the what's the evil spread lady, whatever that
Oh, the curse.
yeah.
No. We're probably going to find out in the book, but he didn't
Yeah,
share
He
that.
didn't, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
That
he
is
would
a
have
pretty
revealed
big
something
reveal
like
you
that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
He just revealed
just
the Black
really
Woman's personality as a young man. It's amazing.
It's exciting.
Awesome. But we're not talking about Stormlight other than in connection with our fantasy knowledge in general.
Yes.
I've read those, and now I'm hooked, and so this is probably how I'll get tricked into reading Wheel of Time eventually, because Brandon Sanderson finished it up, and that's done, right?
Here's the one thing I will
Okay.
say about Wheel of
Okay,
Time.
ongoing.
When you are reading Wheel of Time, skip book 10. It has no purpose at all, and it will just annoy you.
Good to know.
But yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in on Sanderson, and so probably that'll be my gateway drug to other stuff.
Have
Mistborn
you-
was my gateway drug to all of. Brandon
Have you read
Sanderson.
some of his non-Cosmere stuff, like Reckoners?
You'll love them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do Reckoners next.
Okay.
Even though they're young adult novels, they're amazing.
Okay.
So I'll fill in for Nate here, because Nate would have probably talked about this. But the Reckoners series it's a superhero series, but it's kind of turned on its head, because it basically anytime that all of these superheroes for some reason are super evil.
If you use your powers, you
You're
lose
evil.
your humanity.
And basically, more or less, they've kind of taken over the United States. The government just said, okay, fine, whatever, we give up.
Mob boss, mob boss, mob boss.
Yeah, and so you have these mob bosses with their underling villains, and the story is about this kid who's joining the human resistance against these superheroes, and it's actually really, really cool.
They find their weaknesses, they do a plan, they take them out. Boom.
That's pretty
I
cool.
love that.
I do like organized crime.
Yeah, you'll love it.
And I do like versions of America that don't suck.
Yeah.
I mean, even though in this world it's an apocalyptic America, it's still really fun.
Yeah, because you have stuff like Chicago, but everything has been turned to steel.
By a Superman who turns things to steel.
Yes.
And is evil.
And then you have New York, but it's all underwater.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, like, people just live on the tops of buildings.
Oh.
And boat around.
Yeah.
Oh. So, like, Venice, but not on purpose.
Yeah.
Well, somebody's purpose.
Oh, boy.
So
Yeah.
it's really interesting. I definitely recommend it as your next step
Dang
in
it.
Brandon
All
Sanderson.
right. Dang it.
So Steelheart is the first book.
Steelheart.
They're making a movie of it too, anyway. So.
That's what I worry about. Any adaptation, because like,
Okay, we'll
Okay,
talk
okay,
about that a
okay,
little bit
okay.
later on.
I'm done. Yeah.
So, Emily, I'm really interested to hear what your background with fantasy novels is.
It's pretty limited. I mean, Harry Potter, but
Oh.
I'm sure.
Right. I also have read Harry Potter.
I
Like,
think that's the
a lot.
consensus about
Like, we're having a family reunion next week, and I'm making a Harry Potter trivia game. And
Yeah.
my mother-in-law runs a Harry Potter camp, and
Yeah, dude.
yeah.
Harry Potter's the best.
So
I will say that my Russian language practice is still reading Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, not Tanya
Harry.
Broker, the ripoff.
No, even though I do have a Tanya
Just
Groter
a
book.
shameless ripoff. It was just like the same font. It was
I
just
love
like,
those.
But
Come
she rides on a vacuum cleaner, for one thing.
There's some differences.
Even though they try to say that it's in the same universe as Harry Potter because it's Russia, so who cares?
Copyright law. What you mean copyright law? What is copyright law?
I'll never forget the SpongeBob SquarePants doll that I got that was blue for no reason other than, why not?
Good
This is
kabok.
Russia.
Is that the law where I copy what you write?
If so, then I am done.
Oh, Russia. Awesome. So, just Harry Potter?
Harry Potter, I might have read some stuff in like high school or for school or something.
Okay.
I don't know.
But never
Harry
anything that's high fantasy, so it's the, in its own world, not on Earth sort of stuff.
Well, Harry Potter's enough for me.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right, Kelly.
My first fantasy novel was... they had to force me to read in English class for an hour and a half on the A days.
Mm-hmm.
And I picked a fantasy novel that had dragons, and I was like, oh, this is cool, and it was Aragon.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was amazing, and I was like, oh man, I'm going to read a lot. And then somebody ruined Aragon for me and said, dude, it's Star Wars set in a medieval time. And I'm like, so true, now I'm pissed. Well, it was written by a 15-year-old, so what do I expect? Then I went on a big stint of never reading because I was like, why would I read? I just watch a movie and see the whole thing in 2 hours.
True that, Holmes.
And then
Because then you'd watch the Aragon movie instead of reading the book.
when I watched the Aragon movie, I left the theater more mad than I've ever been leaving a theater. I was so disappointed and
Even
betrayed.
after,
That's how I felt after watching
have you
13
seen-
Reasons Why.
have you seen Last Airbender?
No,
We don't need to-
I didn't watch it on purpose because I love the show. I didn't want to watch a movie and get pissed off.
Smart move. I was not that smart.
Yeah. Anyway, I married into a family with a super geeky, Nintendo-loving brother-in-law who is my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And
Aww.
he ended up telling... He is a huge reader. And he was like, you need to read this book. I'm telling you right now, before you do anything else, you need to read this book. It will change your life. And it was Mistborn.
Yep.
Empire.
He told me about allomancy and how it worked before I even heard about the book. And I was like, that is the coolest idea ever. He described this fight of dudes throwing metal at the ground and pushing on those coins, and since the ground is heavier than them, they're like arcing and flying and fighting at the same time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds epic. And it is. So I started reading that, and the moment I met the first character and he saved a little girl, it was like, from there, I couldn't stop. I was literally, like, in between calls at work, I had the book pulled up, and then as soon as I hear somebody walking by, I'd minimize it and then look like I'm doing something, and then go right, like, it was so, and my wife got pissed off too, because she'd be telling me, I'm like, hold on a second. And she's like, what? You got a text you're reading? Is it important? I'm like, yes.
Kelsier might die.
It's very important. Yeah. And she's like, you've been in the bathroom for 50 minutes. What are you doing? And I'm like, You have no idea what I'm doing. And she's like, that's what I'm asking.
I'm not even here right now. I'm
like, I am in Scadrial. Leave me alone.
Brandon Sanderson owes me like a week's worth of sleep.
Yeah.
And like good like new parent sleep that you don't get.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh crap, this book's so good. And so I'd like lay there with my Kindle, like the brightness turned all the way down so it wouldn't bother my wife. Like both the app brightness and the brightness of the phone. Like
it's 1 a.m. One more chapter. That's it. Just one more chapter.
Oh,
2 a.m.
Crap, it's 4.
Okay, well I got to do one more, and it's 4 a.m. in the morning, and you're like, what have I done? I go to work in an hour. I'm an idiot.
That's exactly right. That is. Yeah.
But then the whole day you're still like dazed in this. Yeah. I've never had an author do that to me. I've never had a video game do that to me. It's just that powerful. I think he redefines epicness for me. Just wow.
Mistborn, the perfect adaptation of Mistborn would be
Anime.
I was going to say video game. Like it should be animated. It should be like a Last Airbender style. You know.
Yeah.
Can
you imagine? Can you imagine that studio that developed Last Airbender doing Mistborn?
That's the perfect way to do it because it needs, you need to give it time. You can't do a movie. Or movie's not enough.
And I would love if like some huge studio like HBO would pick it up, but they have naughtiness everywhere, so I don't think they would.
Boobs.
Yeah, there's not enough boobs in Sanderson's book for.
And he wouldn't allow that anyway.
He'd be like, we're not going to add that scene, but it's HBO. We can.
Well, I don't know. But there is Warbreaker.
Yeah, there's a lot of implied.
Yeah, but he's just confused. He's just innocent.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're not going to get into spoilers there. So my background is actually pretty similar to your guys' in some ways, except when I was in elementary school, I was a nerd.
I would never.
Not even a geek. I was a full-on nerd. To put things into perspective for you, one of my best friends was Stephen Bradford.
There you go.
That's when you know, man.
And so in elementary school, I really got obsessed around 4th grade with these books called Dragonlance.
Oh, I've heard those are good.
They were very good at the time. And I would say for about 4 years, so up until 8th grade, I was absolutely obsessed with these books. And the thing is, there must have been hundreds of them. Like, you could find them anywhere. But the problem is, anything outside of the Chronicles books and the Legends books, they are all pretty bad. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like all of the Star Wars extended universe novels that they had back in the 90s, where there were just like tons of them.
The couple that I read were pretty good. They're all, non-canonical anymore. Yeah. And I liked, Animorphs till they fell off. And
I like that one that was kind of like a space zombie novel with Han and Chewie meeting for the first time. That one was good. I can't remember what that one was called, but
I can't help you. I haven't read it. I don't know. I'm sorry.
But anyway, so, and at a certain point, I started getting assigned bigger books in all my English classes. Because, I was one of those nerds, so I had the hard English classes.
Hey, that doesn't make you a nerd.
It just makes you smarter.
Thank you. I needed that validation.
Makes you the best. Holla.
Nerds are good at math.
But anyway, so my fantasy novels just kind of dropped off a cliff. And over the next few years, I started to kind of hate reading. And then...
I never had that experience. Anyway, sorry.
And then it was, say, 2001. 2001.
Space Odyssey.
And my mom had been trying for years to convince me to read Harry Potter, ever since it came out. My mom is a teacher. She was a principal. And she had started to love these books, and she's like, no, you need to read these. I'm like, yeah, I don't care. And so I saw the first Harry Potter movie. I'm like, okay, there might be something there. And so the first Harry Potter book that I read was actually the second book.
So you saw the movie and still wanted to read the books? Because I saw the movie and I was like,
Dude,
die!
I saw the first 3 movies before I read any of the books.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you don't have to apologize. Harry
I
Potter
guess it
is a big
works.
part of my life to this day.
Oh,
Because the
man.
movies
There's
have
no
never,
problem. No
like,
problem.
even
I've
the
never
sixth
understood
one.
anybody's connection to Harry Potter, but I never read the book, so that's probably why.
You've never read Harry Potter?
Yeah,
at all?
you have to kind of read the books to really like
Oh,
invest in the
it's-
world.
it-
And the
it-
best
it is
audiobooks. The
outstanding.
best
yeah,
audiobooks.
Jim Dale.
Jim Dale, the best.
Oh,
If you ever do Jim Dale, don't do Stephen Fry. If you ever listen to the
Oh,
audiobooks.
there's two options.
yeah.
Jim Dale.
English and American.
Just do Jim
Yeah,
Dale.
The publisher.
the-
All that matters.
Is Jim Dale the English one?
They're
Jim Dale-
they're both
They're both
English,
English,
but Jim
but-
Dale did the reading for the American publisher. I think Stephen Fry did it for the British
think so.
publisher. Is that how it worked?
Yeah, I think so. Have you seen the show Pushing Daisies?
And you told me about it. I was going to, and my wife.
Anyone
was
who's
like,
met Brady
"Oh,
for more than 5 minutes knows about Pushing
It's
Daisies.
one of my favorite shows ever. I
It's so
think it
good.
is Steven's favorite show ever.
Yeah,
But it's absolutely amazing. But Jim Dale is a narrator in that show as well, and it warms my heart. But yeah, so I was instantly hooked and 100% back into reading because of Harry Potter, and I think that Harry Potter did that for a lot of people.
That's, yeah. My cousin who like hated reading loved that and hooked the whole family on it.
Yeah.
Like we just passed around the audiobooks until the tapes wore out and CDs got bigger and started listening to them on CD.
And so
Audible is so
eventually,
amazing.
I started working at a call center where they didn't have any calls for us to take, and so they encouraged us to read books. I'm like, okay, I need books. I want to get something that will take me a while to get through, so I actually got Wheel of Time. And so, as much as it was kind of a slog to get through, when I got to the Sanderson books, when he took over, I was like, oh my gosh, this guy is good. And then went and read Mistborn, and then everything just went downhill from there. And now I just eat up everything that I can get from him. Snapshot, have any of you guys read Snapshot
Is
yet?
that the detective one?
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, no.
Ooh, I need to.
It's good.
Because I'm kind of like reticent to read anything that's not like Cosmere related now. It's like
His non-Cosmere stuff is still stoked. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do the Reckoners, do Steelheart.
Okay.
But yeah, and just like to this day, I'm absolutely obsessed with Sanderson and his writing style because it's epic. He writes in a way that he basically makes movies for you, which some authors have a very hard time doing, even though their work is absolutely amazing. But I don't have the attention span for it. And so with Sanderson, it's a lot of in-your-face action. Except, I would not describe The Emperor's Soul quite that way. This is a much more philosophical book. And so, let's talk about it. Let's talk about this a little bit. So Sanderson is known first and foremost for his world building. And by that, I mean he creates worlds that have their own set of rules and their own way of doing things, their own economies, their own magic systems, which is, of course, one of the biggest parts, their own political systems, and they always are a little bit more intricate than you would expect. So, what do you guys think about the world building in this story?
I think it's just enough that you want more. It's just enough of a hint of because as you find out this is a different continent than it's the same world as Elantris but a different continent.
Yeah.
If I understand it right, or at least a different part of it. But you want more out of it, and you want to see what else you can do with it. I think in some ways the whole short story is kind of a cheat because it's like I'm just going to explain the magic system. I'm just going to add a little bit it's mostly an excuse to look how cool it's all the flashy stuff, without a lot of extra characters and a lot more plot going on. It's just streamlined down to what he does best, and I love it. But part of me is man, this is just we're just having dessert here. We haven't had the meal to it, I guess. But it's at the same time the questions that it raises are really deep and the nature of true art, a true artist versus the the forgers and what makes us who we are. Getting into how to recreate this emperor who's gone brain dead. I think magic systems, world buildings, that's his wheelhouse. That's what he does best, and this is a great example of it.
Yeah, a guy who can create a magic system that you really, really wish was real.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. Forging is such an interesting idea to change yourself and change your history, change an item's history. Turn a crappy old table into one that was really well cared for by an artisan.
I just think it's so interesting how this is a magic system that can be used for white collar crime.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, when you think about it, I mean, it's so intriguing to me just how intricately things are planned out. And it's like you said, this does take place in the Elantris universe, in the Elantris world, and you can see the similarities in the magic system between Elantris and the Emperor's Soul, but the way that it's used is so different and creative, and I love it. And part of Arcanum Unbounded, it does have a little bit more background for each of the stories, and so with this one, it talks about how a lot of Brandon Sanderson's ideas for this came about with he was living in the Orient, and with that, he was intrigued by the seals that they would have for things, and so he treats a lot of these characters and this world as if it's more Oriental than we might think while you're reading it. And actually, this last time that I read it, just right before the podcast, in the last couple of days, it was interesting to me to think of it that way, and it kind of changed what my mind thought about the story. It was very interesting.
I think that adds to it when it's building on an existing idea like that, where it's, this is like in our world, in Asian cultures, where, if a noble person, what was it, they would stamp something that they liked with their own stamp. And the stamps themselves, I've seen them in different, it's beautiful, and you get an image of the type of craftsmanship that it would take to make these soul
stamps.
Soul stamps. Sorry, I was trying to get to some of them, but
yeah,
I don't know.
It's really interesting.
As an artist, I am trying to become a better artist and get better at drawing, and it is intriguing to me just talking about her being challenged, is she a true artist or not? And in her way, I think she is. I think she's a master because of what she can do and her depth of understanding, and how it ties into Stormlight and understanding the cognitive realm, the spiritual realm, and the physical realm, and how we've seen some of those places, and this is another way it connects into Cosmere. She understands that, yes, this is just a table, but the table wants to be the best version of itself, and that's why I made it beautiful and marble and not this crappy table you gave me in this store cupboard, and that's why I was able to make this room bigger and make my bed bigger, and it's really it gets to her.
It's like soul casting.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. You've heard us say the word Cosmere a lot.
Oh, yeah,
and every time that we do it, I see Emily just kind of go, what?
Sorry.
So just a little bit of background.
Not as much as it is. My eyes are glossed over. I'm thinking about something else.
It's a good thing that.
The Cosmere is basically a lot of Brandon Sanderson's novels take place in the same universe, and they have connections with themes and a little bit of how the magic works and all of that. And you also have world hoppers, so you'll have characters that will appear in both stories. They'll use different names, but
you'll recognize them.
Yeah,
your personas, and you're like, that's so and so.
Which is actually really cool. But Emily, as a newcomer, and without all of this nonsense Cosmere talk that makes you glaze over, what did you think about the world building in this book? The magic system.
I thought it was good. It was pretty easy to pick up on and follow along with. It wasn't hard for me to picture it all in my head. And sometimes with certain kinds of fantasy books it can be, but I didn't have a problem with it at all with this one. So
There's
it
like
was
an
well.
XKCD where it was like a chart, like the better the book, the easy, like it was, depending on how many made up words there are, it like if there's fewer of them, then the book is better, and it like give an example that was like really really messed up, just like all this crap,
And his writing is he uses good descriptive words, and he uses a wide variety of them.
Mhm.
So that helped.
Oh, definitely.
Good prose.
And, that's Emily stepped out for a second, but that's one of the things that we're talking about. That's one of Brandon Sanderson's strengths, is that, he builds up these magic systems that are creative and they're different. Like, you don't see something like this pretty much anywhere else in the literature.
Very original.
And you think that every time that you read one of his books, you're like, this is weird. This is crazy. But at the same time, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that I love about Sanderson's magic systems that I don't love about, say, Harry Potter, is that there are limits.
Mm-hmm.
And, so in this book, Shy can only do so much. In the very first section when she's talking about trying to, coming up with ideas to break out, trying to convince the wall and change its history to make it all this kind of burnable material, but then, what can she do with that?
Mm-hmm.
And, Tony calls her on that, like, how would you do that? I mean, if you could make a fire that's strong enough, that has enough heat to it to burn down that wall, how would you survive?
Right.
And,
Yeah.
whereas...
I like that the magic had to be probable. Like
Whereas in Harry Potter, it would be agumento and blah. And
You have to know the spell, man. Okay.
I
you
think
can't
it's more
just-
complex than that, but
Yeah.
we can talk
But
about Harry Potter.
but
There's a lot of
just in
physical
general,
aspects.
like I enjoy when there's a system of magic that has limits, because that makes it understandable, and you understand what these characters can do and what they can't do, and because of that, you can't have a Deus Ex Machina just come in and be like, "Whoa, didn't know that they could do that all along. Now did you, yuck?" And I really appreciate that about Sanderson's magic systems.
I'm just thinking about a fight between a Knight Radiant and a Mistborn, like a full Mistborn. Like,
That'd be cool.
Be so cool. I don't know who would win. I really don't. Probably the Mistborn, because they could just
It's
switch in the
Vadium.
metal and just yeah. But
Yeah, as far as forging goes, though, if it were real, I would forge a stamp for professional guitarist, bassist, drummer,
There you go, man.
music theorist, audio engineer, and then make the most amazing music you have ever heard.
Yeah, seriously.
And
that's the Lenny Kravitz stamp. He played all his own songs.
I was about to say, no, that's Dave Grohl.
Yeah, that is.
I'd also
that's
have
the
a
Dave Grohl.
stockbroker professional and a financial advisor professional stamp, and then just when I go to work to put those on, make millions of dollars, come home and do what I want.
There you go.
Nerd,
Yeah,
in-
Totally legit.
nerd in the streets and a guitar player.
And it is interesting how, this concept of forgeries, how that then can apply to changing yourself, those
Yeah.
soul stamps. Because, a lot of the book, early on focuses on what you can do to physical objects. But, of course, this is about the Emperor's soul.
Yeah.
And it's about forging that soul. And so... Let's talk about the characters a little bit, because I think that that's one of the strongest parts of this story. What do you think about the characters? Should we go through them kind of like one by one, see what you think, or just you want to do?
There's only so many of them. Shy is amazing,
Yeah.
and
She's a badass.
yeah,
I love it.
I just it's one of those
Girl
where
power.
like we might not get to see this character again, but I really would love to. And but part of me is like, but would more be bad? Would that take away from how good this is if we had, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I felt the same way with Shadows for Silence, and Forest of Hell.
Mhm.
Like, there's some great characters there that I'm like, oh, I want more of them,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I don't know. But yeah, Shy was great. Sanderson does a great job, I think, of writing strong women, which is something that some authors don't do all that great. And so, seeing that in so many of his novels, Emperor's Soul, of course, Mistborn, even in the second Mistborn series, you have some characters that you think are just kind of side characters at first, but they end up being some of your absolute favorites.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that in general, he does a great job with Shy.
I think Shy is cool, but I think her alter egos, especially the monk, is even cooler. Like the way her personality changes, the way that she approaches a fight, and the way she analyzes the situation, and you feel like you're in there, in her mind, in the fight, ready to go, and then the fight starts, and you feel like you're Sherlock Holmes in that Robert Downey Jr. where he's like,
Absolutely.
and then the fight actually proceeds, and you're like, this kick, this punch, boom, boom, and you're just like, oh man, that was so amazing.
She got hurt. Like anyone else, because I played a lot of Skyrim, and the skeleton bad guys are the easy ones to kill. And with this, I was like, what if really there was? Yeah, I was like, what if there really were skeletons? That would be really friggin' scary. And this kind of made me rethink that, because at first I was like, oh, it's just skeletons coming after you. What are you gonna do about it? But then, there is some menace to them, and she gets really seriously injured, but takes him apart like a boss. It was really cool at that point, and just really, really satisfying payoff.
I love how smart she is, and how clever, and how she plans for so long to accomplish her goals. Like her plans with the blood sealer, and her plans with the guards, and just
the application of her forging skills to so many things. The forged letter that she did, straight up actual handwritten forgery, not just soul forging, but the changing the bed, so it was a trap. And the floorboards and stuff.
So smart.
And knowing is Gautona, is that how you pronounce it? I don't have the audiobook for that. Or is there an audiobook?
Yeah, there is. Gautona.
Gautona, I really liked his character as well, and we'll talk about him, but how she knew him well enough to know that she could pull it off and get away.
And that she could trust him.
Yeah.
And let's talk a little bit about Gautona, because I love Gautona.
Yeah.
And I love just the dichotomy that you have between Gautona and Shy. How they are so fundamentally different in the way that they view the world. But at the same time, you see this connection and this friendship and this this bond.
You're a blasphemer,
that they have.
but I like you, and I don't know why.
It was a disappointed relative, a disappointed parent, grandfather, or something.
Yeah.
Where he was like, "You're so talented and you're so good, but you're doing this thing that is wrong." He believed that what she was doing was bad, but he couldn't deny how talented she was and how impressed he was in spite of himself. Watching her work and slowly realizing that she really is a true artist and not just
experiencing what it was like to have a son, but then not that stamp where she changed his history for a second, and it didn't work because it was too improbable. But the feeling that he had in there, it was like, whoa,
Intense.
And I think that's a lot of what this book does so well, is it digs into those feelings and the philosophical implications of what if your life was different. The fact that she had the one soul stamp that was basically the reset seal.
Yeah. That's a scary thing to have in your back pocket.
Yeah.
Everything's gone wrong.
What if you sit on that seal?
Yeah.
Seriously, dude.
And when you have that in the background, where she's also studying Emperor Ashravan as much as she can and getting to know what makes a person, and then having that in the back of her mind that she has a reset button for herself. So what makes her would be gone. And so I think that's really, and that's really what's at the base of this book, is what makes a person a person. What is it about you that makes you who you are, and discovering that. But before we get into those deeper themes, any other characters that you guys want to call out?
Yes.
Okay.
The Imperial Fool.
Mentioned that, and we know it's Hoyd. Yeah.
Do you know why he stole the Moon Scepter?
That I don't know, and it sounds exciting to find out why.
Because I'm
Well,
sure
right
that'll
now-
pop up somewhere else.
Right now, it's not a. Well, it is confirmed by Brandon Sanderson because he literally just told somebody in a question they asked at a reading. But it interprets. It's like a Rosetta Stone.
Interesting.
It actually will show you the meaning of symbols in languages you don't understand and ones you do.
Interesting.
Oh.
Awesome.
And so,
So
because he's a
for a
world
world
hopper,
hopper,
that's
right.
quite a useful tool.
I wonder then, because he shows up in Stormlight Archive. So Hoyt is a character that has appeared in several novels and stuff.
Okay.
I'm wondering what we are going to find out about a timeline, because when does
He will get his own series. In book.
I really hope so, because I'd be interested to see,
It's
him
actually a
screwing around.
synonym. The Imperial Fool, the King's Wit.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
My, I want to know about, because the Mistborn novels, when did those take place, at the same time as, before Stormlight Archive? Because, everything's
Yeah.
kind of medieval, for parts of it, but then you get into Shadows of Self, and you get into Bands of Mourning, and all of that, and that's...
Feels like Western.
Yeah, it's like Western, and they're almost and what's his name? Harmony is like, you guys don't even have radio yet. Well, where does he know about radio?
Yeah.
Someone has radio somewhere, because Yeah, sorry.
Anyway,
It's more cosmic crap noise.
so there's one other character that I want to talk about, and that's Emperor Ashradan. Because, this story is all about finding out who he was. And I loved, I totally expected it to just be like, he's flawed, he's so deeply flawed, and, going into all the negative things about it, and, with Galtona's relationship that he had with Ashravan, you would have expected it to basically be Shy showing Galtona how horrible her friend was. But I love that it was more, he's flawed. He had good intentions. He was good once. And, he tried to fix things. And, at certain points he would just give up. But he was, it's... I really enjoy it when, especially when you do a deep dive into a character and you find out that they're not black and white. Mm-hmm. And that it's not even black and then white and then black and then white. Like the first few seasons of Heroes with every single character.
Season 1 was solid. The finale was crap.
But it's more in those gray areas where, I work for a company that was founded on the principle that people are basically good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say what it is, but and it's something that I do believe in, and I think that this story with how it talked about Ashravan really nailed that concept.
I think it's interesting. When all this took place, it seems like it was kind of at a crossroads for the Emperor, and his faction was going to lose power, and Galtona was also a little disappointed in him, but he loved him so much that he wants him back in whatever. He didn't ask for any changes to be made to him. Mm-hmm. He wanted him as close to who he was.
She forged him to be better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She forged him. Well, she had to know him well enough to hit on those experiences, and I think what this shows
To emphasize the good in it.
Yeah, he took choice B instead of choice A. He should feel more strongly about this experience over this one, so it leads him down this way of thinking, and his character is changed so that he's more likely to make better decisions as a leader. I think it's really interesting how it didn't get into too many specifics, but it gives you a really good idea of how complex this job that Shy got was.
Yeah.
And his first decision,
Mm-hmm.
after becoming himself again, was
Let
like,
it
it was really cool because it was kind of like, she didn't know how it was going to work.
Yeah,
Not 100%.
yeah.
But it was such a masterpiece that the good that was highlighted in him ended up making his first decision really good for her.
I love that she's a master. She's considered all these things, but she still wants
Humble.
to see if it works.
Mm-hmm.
She still has to roll the dice and say, this is my best guess, and I really hope this works, because she put herself out there And luckily, she was like, I'm glad that, that paid off, and she was able to, get away with her life, because, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of... I really like how Sanderson puts his characters in a lot of his books in situations that are... It's like, oh crap moments, like they're in trouble, but not so unbelievable in trouble that there's no way out at all. Like, for example, Jim Butcher, like, he's so screwed, like, there's no way. But there's other books, so I know he's okay. So, but, yeah, I don't know, it's just so masterfully done.
I forget what I was going to say. Let's move on. Sorry. I was going to say, I think it talks about, how our experiences change us, because she talks about his was it his relationship with his brother?
Yeah.
Yes.
And her emphasizing that, I think that it's our experiences and then our choices with, what happens to us.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you can see the same thing happening to two people. Two people get cancer. One person comes out of it, lifting up everyone around them, has a good attitude. Maybe they, get better, maybe they don't. And another person can take it horribly and can, go negative and retreat inside themselves, and maybe they make it, maybe they don't. I think that, we see that when natural disasters happen, when, bad things happen, people can, sometimes you see the best in people, sometimes you see the worst in people. And I think that, our experiences, are a huge part of it. Like, my family moved around a whole lot when I was growing up, and it was really hard, but looking back on it, I can see where each of those moves helped me become better and were good for me, and it, helped me to grow as a person. And, it's all about what choices we make after we're hit with these experiences. So she emphasized more of, one experience and changed how he felt a little, just slightly, that master's touch where it's, not going to be too much where it would reject it. But, where this is more important now, and so his character's changed because of it.
So I'm gonna draw a parallel between this and something that you might not expect, and that is the latest season of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
See, I
stopped watching.
I lost
that.
hope.
Oh, it's good.
The first season just...
it's much better after the first season.
That's what everyone says, but...
Get through it.
I've been burned before.
This last season, Ghost Rider was amazing.
That's what I hear, and...
Even though it was Robbie Reyes and not... Yeah.
Well, Nicolas Cage kind of tainted the other one, didn't he? Johnny Storm, was it his name?
Johnny Blaze.
Johnny Blaze, sorry. Yeah. Johnny, dude with his head on fire.
Yeah.
A subtle name.
Yeah.
Like that.
But anyway, so in the second half of the season, the first half of the season is basically all around Ghost Rider, but the second half of the season is much more interesting. It's about LMDs, life model decoys, and specifically about one life model decoy, Ada, who ends up basically putting people into a mainframe. So it's putting their consciousness into this simulation. And the interesting thing about the simulation is everything was the same, except the people who were put into it had one regret that was changed. And it's interesting as you watch it, because you see that as these people, their one regrets that they had in their minds that were changed, they ended up being in much worse shape, every single one of them. And it's because that's not who they are. And I think that's a little bit about what this book is also about. It's our experiences, and our regrets are what make us who we are and what take us to where we go.
Right.
Because I think your bad experiences can drive you in the same way that good experiences can, help you grow. Anything. Emily, sorry, you were gonna say something.
No, I wasn't.
Oh.
Technically, every bad decision we've made in our lives leads us to where we are now, and everything that is good in our lives that we love and appreciate, those bad things that happened to us, we didn't let them define us, and we actually overcame, and we're in a better place, and we have so much joy in our lives because, my wife's entire life growing up, she had a put together family, and I always envied that. And then mine was broken since I was 10. But then, beginning of our marriage, I'm envying her family.
Mm-hmm.
Now she's envying mine because of how close our siblings are to each other. That's all we had. We were close knit because we had to depend on each other when our parentals were not making good decisions.
Yeah.
Her siblings are always bickering, even as adults, and it's silly. And she's like, I wish I had what you had, and it's silly how that works. But to tie this back in the book, I love, like, one of the biggest themes that I love about this is that she was working so hard and so focused, all under the assumption that she's going to die after. And that's like the biggest demotivator and discouragement.
Seriously, yeah.
When I'm working on something, I get discouraged pretty easily if something doesn't work out. But if I know I'm going to die at the end, I'm going to be like, screw it, I'm done.
Right, I'm gonna do
what does it
something
matter,
else.
right? But the theme of the book just ties into perseverance as well as pride in one's work. Because even though she wasn't like, she thought she was going to die at the end, she still gave it her all. And by doing so, actually overcame what she was fearing the whole time. And that is...
Well, she was she was a true artist. She was challenged. She couldn't say no to the challenge. She knew the stakes are, I probably am going to die, but I'm so intrigued by this. You know, the more she thought about it, the more she was like, I can do this. And then, you know, wanted to do it. And then risked everything to see if it worked, even though she could have just, you know, once she got her stamp, she could have just taken off.
Right.
She could have just escaped and then, you know, tried to remake them later somehow. You know, there was a million different possibilities, but she still wanted to see, you know, she wanted to create a masterpiece. And she did.
Well, she wanted to create a masterpiece, but at the same time, she wasn't giving up on living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, she had enough backup plans. It was still a gamble, though, because even once she, got out of that room, she still
What am I going to do?
Yeah, yeah. But I love that she, you know... Oh, just that whole escape sequence is amazing.
Oh, it is.
And and Gaetano burns the book, her explanation, he reads through it, he appreciates it, he has a nice little moment, and then just tosses it.
Yep.
That I think shows his acceptance of her work. This whole time he's been wondering, why isn't she a true artist? Why isn't she a true artist? Why is she?
He realizes
choosing
that she
imitations?
is
And then
the
he's
entire
like,
time.
she is, and I'm going to accept this emperor as real, and not going to think about where all these motivations came from and where all of his actions are coming from. So burn the book, get rid of the evidence, and he accepts.
I love that she didn't put in that thing from that other lady.
Yeah.
What was her name?
Yeah. The
Stupid lady, that's her name.
Make him agree with me more.
Yeah.
You know, and it's interesting, you know, we talk a lot about
Bravo.
anime bombastic Sanderson, and here we are delving into these deep emotional ties that, you know, that we're having to the story, and how it makes us kind of rethink things. And that's one of the things that makes this one of my favorites of Sanderson's work, because, you know, I love the spectacle. I love the spectacle. And you do get a little bit of that here, but just how internalized this story is just makes it something special to me.
This might be my favorite. It's really close. Elantris really hit me in a way I wasn't expecting. I was like, okay, this is going to be his first book. I'm going to be able to see the cracks in the wall. You know, I'm going to be able to see how much he's grown since writing this.
It didn't even faze me that it was his first book. It was awesome.
No. Yeah, I loved Elantris. But, Mistborn has a special place because it was the first one I read, and it feels like a childhood friend that you just want to hug.
Mm-hmm.
But then you read
Stormlight.
Emperor's Soul. Oh, and Stormlight is
on another level.
It's on another level because it's so good, and I think that each one of his books there is an argument of no, this one's the best. No, except for Warbreaker, it's just not the best.
Oh no, Warbreaker has its own arguments. I love Warbreaker.
So you just love Vasher.
Orson Scott Card
I do love
hated
that
his
show.
magic system in the first half of the book. After the second half, he was like, "Wow, that's actually really cool."
In Warbreaker, or
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, with the breath.
It was intriguing, and I want to go through all of his books again, just looking at class struggle and just looking at racism and you know, the lower class, upper class, people from different. I don't know. That's why I like Stormlight Archive, because you get a whole world with the interludes. I love the interludes
Right.
because you get, hey, there's a far off province that you remember the first map page that you've forgotten because it was 1,000 pages ago. Well, flip back to it real quick so you can get your bearings because we're on those little tiny islands over there. They're not islands; they're big turtles. And and then we're gonna come back to I love that. But I think I want to go back and look through it again because all of his books that I've read, there has been a class struggle and there's been a differentiation between, and sometimes it's who has abilities, who doesn't. Sometimes it's just who's the ruling class and who's the working class. I don't know what
Sometimes it's the color of your eyes.
Yeah, what's up with that? My wife has blue eyes and I have brown eyes. It's not fair.
The interludes would piss me off in the beginning. Halfway through them, I'd be like, oh, this is so cool. Halfway through the parts, like when it goes from Kaladin to Shalon, for example, I'm like, man, I want to keep going with Kaladin. And then, like 5 pages in, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, this is cool.
Yeah. Shalon, I was like, she's good, but I really prefer the Kaladin stuff. And then in the second novel, Shalon the Spy was the coolest thing in the world to me. Where she was
working with the Ghost Bloods.
Yeah.
Okay, well, anyway, but back to the Emperor's Soul, because we keep on going off onto all of Sanderson's other stuff, which
just leads there.
It's all amazing.
All so good.
But I'm really curious on your opinion, Emily. First of all, on this book, and based on this book, do you think that this high fantasy is something that you might consider reading more of in the future?
Maybe. I'm not entirely sold, to be totally honest. I didn't get as much out of it as you guys did reading it. When I think about it, I can see all those themes. I get it, but I wasn't super into it myself.
That's all right.
Weren't
I had it on my table
enough
on my
house
shirt.
elves for you?
I don't need house elves. I don't know. It didn't grab me the way I wanted it
starting
to.
with Emperor's Soul, I can see that.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is me begging somebody I've never met before to give it a chance.
Should I start with something pick up something
Final
else?
Empire.
I feel like I'm gonna have 1,000 different opinions.
No,
No,
Mistborn.
start with Mistborn.
But that's what I started with, so
that's
I'm
the
gonna
most-
say
Mistborn's
that,
a good
but-
hook, line, sinker.
That's
Sure.
the most. I would say that's the most accessible.
Yeah.
Outside of maybe the
This
Reckoner's
one.
books, because those are young adult.
Way of Kings can take a minute to get into. I've heard people
Yeah.
say that. So
I feel like I needed all of the Mistborn books and Elantris and Warbreaker to get into Storm, because by the time I was like, I know what I'm on board for. I know that these first couple of chapters are just background that they won't make any sense for a while, and I just gotta get through it until I get hooked, and then it'll all come around, and it did, and it was great. But it took 6 Mistborn novels. They're all so good, though.
So here, let me give you the elevator pitch for Mistborn: The Final Empire. It's a heist novel about people with different magical abilities, all working together to both steal from and overthrow the
an evil lord.
omnipotent ruler.
It's that sweet spot between Ocean's 11 and Lord of the Rings. You'll feel like you're in
That's a good way to put it based on that
2001
description.
again. You'll feel like you're back in 2001.
He's a really good writer. It might just take the right book for me to get invested.
And it's high fantasy. I mean, from what I've read, if you stick it out, because there's a lot to kind of build up.
You have a lot of unfamiliar words, and it can be very confusing at first. A lot of weird names.
Does Iron push or pull this one, or Steel push or pull?
Steel. Yeah. Oh, you're not really asking. You're
No.
I was like, well, you tell me, man.
Those are the things. Those are the things I thought at first. I was like,
yeah.
Oh, and of course you have the magical system in Mistborn, where it's based on basically different people can burn different metals in their stomach, and it gives them different abilities.
Weird.
Sounds weird. You drink a little vial of booze and steel, and then you can fly a little bit.
But what I love about
Make that
it
a
is
real
you
thing?
have
'Cause
See? Yeah.
I'll
Can we
do
make
it.
that a real thing? That's what you'll get. After
what I love about it is that everything has their opposites.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll have one metal, and certain people can only use each one. You'll have one metal that allows you to push metal objects. Another metal that lets you pull, which Kelly was explaining earlier. Like if you have the push ability and you throw a coin down on the ground, and you push against that coin, because the ground is heavier than you are, it makes you basically fly.
That makes sense.
And you just keep arcing because you keep throwing coins down. And
Ooh, that's cool.
So there are limits to it because you can burn through your supply.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Or you
pure
also have
opposite?
emotional.
Yeah.
So where you can inflame someone's emotions or dampen someone's emotions.
Rioters or soothers.
yeah.
And then the Mistborn are the ones who have all of the abilities.
Yeah.
So that's
So, are you a good fan of a good fight scene? No, you're not really into.
I'm not in love with it. Like, I can respect one and I can take it for what it is, but I don't seek out
Yeah.
cool fight
This-
scenes, bro.
what if I were to tell you that Mistborn also has a love story and it's about a teenage girl?
Oh crap! It
Love
really
stories
does.
enough
Dang
for
it!
me,
I
usually.
forget. So the female protagonist Vin
She's
is
great.
and it's a good, and the romance I think is secondary and becomes a bigger deal, but it's really this we're pulling a heist to bring down the Lord Ruler and it's awesome.
Oh, so good.
It's and good I just love a good payoff at the end because sometimes you're let down, but like that the whole sorry, we're talking about Emperor's Soul. But I would highly recommend Mistborn. Highly recommend Mistborn. And it's I gotta go back and read it now. It's been months since I've read it. And I gotta get the
It's been a whole 2 days, man. I gotta get it fixed.
Seriously. No, it's bad. It's bad.
Oh man. But no, you have to go do Steelheart next.
Oh right.
You have to do the Reckoners.
That's right.
Dude, you'll love it.
You'll love it. It's very much comic booky, but it has a little bit of that ragtag heist feel of the Final Empire, but they're trying to assassinate, so they have to try to basically find out. Oh, Superman's weak against kryptonite. How can we use that? And how can everybody use their different strengths to add to that? And then let's take them down.
You already hooked me, man.
Okay.
You just had to point me in the right direction where I can buy the book.
Anyway, so any final thoughts on the Emperor's Soul?
I wish it was bigger.
Yeah, it was really
Yeah.
short.
Part of me wants there to be more set in that in that setting, and these the Emperor is just kind of hinted at, but we get I don't know, maybe we get to see someone learning to forge, but that feels like a prequel. I don't know. I just want more of that. I want more of Shy, but also I think that it would do us well to get another character's perspective, maybe someone who's I don't know, man. I just want more.
Yeah.
but I don't want it to ruin what's already there.
Oh, definitely.
It's that should I have that second piece of pie? Will
Always.
it make me sick?
It hurts so
But
good.
it's so good.
So, I would say, the Emperor's Soul is an absolutely wonderful novel. It is a little bit different than most of Sanderson's other works, but it's great to read, even completely outside of the Cosmere. You don't need to know anything else to read this.
That's a good book in and of itself.
Exactly.
I think it's him doing what he does best. He's straight up showing off. It's just so good.
All right. And that will do it for this month's podcast. Yay. Of course, make sure that you like us on Facebook, subscribe to us through whatever podcasting service you use.
Tell your friends, tell your mom.
And also subscribe to
Don't
our
tell my
YouTube
mom.
channel. We're going to have some stuff pop up there this month. I promise. I'm not going anywhere, so that will happen. And we will see you next month.
See ya.
All right.
Okay. What did he say for signing?